Now to read the mandatory disclaimer. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 ordering imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this administration finance co-post with the committee of the whole meeting is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided by the order. Persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may do so via the Zoom link that is posted on the salem.com website. This is also being aired live on SATV. All votes taken by this body will be by roll call vote. So, that said, the City Council Committee on Administration Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole met virtually on Monday, June 22nd, 2020 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the matters listed below. Notice this meeting was posted on June 16th, 2020 at 12:56 p.m. As I mentioned, this meeting is being recorded and is also live on SATV. All committee members are present. Also present for the Committee of the Whole, if I can spot them. There they are Councilors Przanowski and Morcillo. Tonight, we are covering the fiscal 21 operating budget meetings and capital improvement plans for the following departments. Planning, including the Conservation Commission, Planning Board, Market and Tourism, and the Historic Commission. Recreation Community Services with admin, the golf course, Witch House, Pioneer Village, and Winter Island. The Council on Aging, the Library, and the Veteran Services Department. And we will also be talking about capital requests from those various departments. What I'll do for the sake of speed and simplicity here is I will start with the Library and the Veterans Department. Those should be fairly quick and straightforward for us to work with, and then from there we can move on to the more lengthy stuff. So with that, I'll start with, I see we have Tara Mansfield here from the Library Director, and if you can unmute yourself and just go through the budget for FY21, and we'll go from there.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. So this year's library budget is pretty similar to other years. One of the changes we had is the staff union formed. So now we have a contract that we're abiding. But let's see, other than that, we did accomplish a lot of things before COVID. And after COVID, we were able to move most of our services online. So we now have online programming. We've increased our digital offerings. We offer online services like reference. So we've been working really hard to change our outreach to digital rather than in person, which is how we traditionally do things. For next fiscal year, a lot of our goals will be kind of tempered with how things go with COVID, but we are planning to reopen our doors hopefully soon. Currently, we're offering curbside delivery, where we bring items out to the curb. And then we'll just continue offering our online services until the day comes when it's safe to open those doors.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the committee for starters? Or from other councilors present? I will ask, has there been any real shift to, I'm just kind of curious here, has there been any shift to digital materials for, because I know there's an ebook lending program and that's been active for some time. Are people shifting to that now, or?
Absolutely. We were able to move our budget for physical collections over to digital in March. So that's what we focused all our spending on, our ebook and digital collections. So we're seeing good usage on both those pieces. So we'll continue that trend because we navigate this new way of doing things.
Right. And then I have one question that comes from the capital side. I saw that you've got a new theft detection system going in. Is that an entirely new system, or because I'm familiar with the old system with the strips in the books and such, but
it will be the same technology. It will be the magnetic strips. It's just end of life for our current system, so they're not supporting it anymore. So we're getting a new one.
Okay. Good. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you please, Mr. Chairman, guide us what page, what section on the...
Oh, I'm sorry. That's they are section 24. The budget items are on section 8, 315 and 316 for the detail.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Quick question on that, the librarian. Mm-hmm. Now and day we have so much moving to or toward the technology piece, in which you see so many students now, they go into electronic booking, electronic reading, all kind of electronic or technology. How much can you say that is involved in what you're doing right now as a librarian based on technology? And how much exactly what part of the budget is into that view, moving toward the technology piece?
That's a good question, because it was not a priority as much before COVID, but now we'll probably lean towards about probably a 60-40 split, so the 40% would be digital resources.
Okay, so you're in this budget that you're presenting us is contemplating that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Morcillo, then Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr.
Councilor Flynn has a hands up as well. So,
I have a question about the ADA upgrades. Can you talk a little bit about what you're proposing there?
Oh, absolutely. Because our building was renovated in the late 80s. We were in violation on many different pieces, but luckily they're all pretty small. So especially in our bathrooms, our public bathrooms, everything is kind of at the wrong height. So there's a lot of things that have to be moved there. Our signage too is very outdated. So all of the signage needs to be replaced in terms of the emergency exits, even signs for like the boiler room, and pretty much almost every sign was either incorrectly placed or labeled. So we have a lot of small changes to make, but thankfully overall it's very manageable.
Okay. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Councilor Morcillo actually asked my question, so I will just take this moment to say thank you for continuing your services throughout this time and being flexible and going online so fast. And I know my 8-year-old and I just ordered some books for curbside pickup, so we appreciate that as well.
Thank you. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd also like to thank the services you provide to our city. It's very important. That's why I wanted to ask you, do you have the necessary funds, do you feel, to be able to continue and have a successful year? Or do you think this is cutting you short a little bit for you to be able to operate?
Let's see, we do have some reductions, but I am confident we'll be able to operate fully.
Okay. How about any loss of part-time staff or regular staff in this proposal?
We are able to keep all of our employees, which we're very excited about. They will be taking voluntary furloughs to help balance the budget. So we're working on scheduling those now. So our summer programming will start out a little late, but then we'll get into full gear later in July.
Okay. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Councilor Dominguez, I believe you had another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question was in the same line that Councilor Flynn was asking right now, but I just wanted for clarification. How many employees do you have as right now?
Oh, let's see. I think 42.
42.
That's full and part-time.
And they mainly full-time?
Mostly part-time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you look, the majority of there's one small section of full-time employees and then a large number of part-time. Any other questions for Ms. Mansfield? If there are no questions, if any members want to make a motion on this, that would be fine too. So, Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like a motion to accept the library personnel budget in the amount of $1,058,785.82.
Second.
Thank you. So Councilor Flynn moves to accept the library personnel budget of $1,058,785.82, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Hearing no further discussion on that, I will take the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So with all the 5 votes cast, it's 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. No gavel. On to the next part. Motion from the floor. Anybody? Councilor Hepworth.
Motion to accept the expenses budget of $1,348,000.
That's the departmental. The library expenses, the number above that.
I'm sorry, 289, 282. Yeah, 1.3 would be a little high.
I'm sure. Thank you. So Councilor Hepworth moves to accept the expenses total of $289,282, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. And I'm sorry we don't have $1.3 million for you this year to buy books, but hopefully we'll get back to that. No further discussion. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilor Hepworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
And myself, yes. So with 5 members voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter of expenses carries. And the third motion from somebody, please. Councilor Dominguez.
Motion to approve the total for the department of $1,348,67.82.
Thank you. Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the library department total of $1,348,067.82, seconded by Councilor Flynn. To call those in favor, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
And myself, yes. So with 5 members voting, on the department total of $1,348,067.82, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. Thank you very much and lucky you get to be first today.
Thank you.
Now we'll do veteran services, and we have our veterans agent, Kim Emmerling, here in the call somewhere. Also, let the record reflect that I see Councilors Medor and Sargent have both joined us. They cannot turn their video cameras on, but they can't hide. So, there she is. So we'll do veteran services, and our veterans agent, Kim Emmerling, is here, but he doesn't have his screen on yet, which means he probably stepped away from the monitor for a moment. Oh, no, you're here twice.
I see him.
Oh, there you are. You somehow are in here twice. Wow, I've known you for a number of years, and you've always been a man who could be in multiple places at once, and if that includes this budget virtual hearing. Thank you. So, if you want to run us through your department.
Sure. Thank you, and welcome everyone. Hope everyone is staying healthy. Here at our department, we've remained pretty busy throughout this whole crisis, except for the 2 weeks I was in a little bit of self-isolation. I've been coming to the office every day. Elizabeth, my assistant's been coming to the office every day, and the work has pretty much been pretty steady the whole time. We don't have anybody coming into the office, of course, but the demands have been there, especially at the beginning. We had a large increase, probably about 10%, 12% more in Chapter 115 benefits at the beginning. And then as it's been reduced over the last month as people have come onto the unemployment benefit that has kicked in. And that's a lot more lucrative than Chapter 115 benefits. So they're going to stay on there for the duration, and then we expect to see them at least come back for a short time when the unemployment benefits drop off until they get back to work and are working back part-time, full-time, whatever it may be. So that's what we've been monitoring pretty much steadily since the whole thing began. And as everyone's hanging around their houses and thinking about things more, we've seen a large increase in VA claims as well. So I've gotten a lot of phone calls, and I wish I could show you the stack of paper I have here for new VA claims or increases in current claims. So been working those and getting all those documents together all virtually, and any signatures are needed. I've just been getting them outside, curbside, as the library does, right? So so that is, we've seen a lot of applications for that, and with the VA closed and not taking anything except emergency calls, it's really the travel has dropped off quite a bit. So we're not doing as many rides, of course, as we were, and fortunately we're able to furlough the driver for that. So we're getting a couple of months of furlough out of him. But again, as soon as the VA kicks right back in, we've already got a lot of the emergency calls are still going. We're trying to staff those with volunteers. But that, even though they're few and far in between, it's pretty challenging just to cover with volunteers. So look forward to having him back on the rolls. And as far as the budget goes, our budget, you know, the employees, we furloughed them. That doesn't change all that much at all. And then, of course, our operating budget, we reduced as much as we could, but we run pretty thin here. So, you know, we're doing everything we can. And the best thing about having a full-time assistant here with me is as we put veterans and widows and dependents on these benefits, we're able to monitor it a lot closer because we're here all the time. And the great thing about, well, the key thing about these benefits are once they are on the benefit and they're eligible for it, then it's our responsibility to try and get them off as quickly as we can or reduce that benefit. So yes, it's an expense to the city and to the state, but again, our job here is also on the flip side to get them off and reduce it as much as possible. Whether that's through an increase in a VA claim or a VA compensation or a pension, or get them enrolled in Social Security. There's several different ways to get them off or reduce Chapter 115 once that is. So once they're on. So pending your questions, that's all I have.
Good. Questions, Councilor Hapworth.
Well, first I want to thank you guys for everything you're doing. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before the pandemic, I had a chance to see a lot of the stuff you do firsthand, Kim, and super appreciative of it. I know a lot of the things that you guys do are sort of one-off situations, and it's hard to sort of probably plan for and categorize everything that you all do. At least that's the impression that I got there. Where do those one-off unplanned for expenses, where do you categorize those and where do those come out of? I'm just trying to see, when I look at the budget, I'm trying to see what potentially had been cut out of that, because I think that's things a lot of people in our government. So
I think there's a couple of different categories, and the most important one for the city is the Chapter 115 one, and that's an ongoing average over the last few years about what we have going on here. And those one-offs that you speak about, those are the ones that we have no idea who's going to come in here or who's going to need the benefit, of course, right? So if they come in and they're eligible, then they by law get the benefit. And those are strictly from the Chapter 115 budget, that 0770 line item there. And it's been reduced a bit, and we're turning a lot of money back into the city that we didn't use last year because we didn't need it. And, that's just one of those things we monitor as it goes through. But those are for very specific Chapter 115 cases. And the challenge we have is if they're not eligible for that, but there's still a need out there, how do we do that? So there are some other line items that we reduced, but again, we can move that around a little bit and cover whatever might need to be covered. And then we have a donation account that it comes from tax. You can check it out. So that's slowly built up over the 2 years, 3 years it's been in a place now. And we have another, donation account that, people just pay $50 or $500 here or there. And again, that's more like a controlled item that, I have a good list of what comes in there and what we turn around and use it for. But those are like one-offs that, it's better to help somebody out, pay for their license in a quick turnaround time as opposed to trying to get them onto Chapter 115 and doing all these other things. But those are donation monies that we can pull that out of there pretty quickly, pay it, and then that veteran or that widow is off and running and back to work, or child care is taken care of, food is taken care of, whatever it might be. So, but that's how we address those one-offs for the money anyway.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? I see Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say thank you as well, Kim. When it comes to the men and women, veterans of the city, I want the bar set as high as it can be, and you're absolutely doing that. Talking to other people on the North Shore with other veterans agents, I know you all work together as a team, and I think you all do a great job. I can never thank you enough for what you do, and I want to thank you and Semper Fi and keep up the good work. Thank you. I know you're working with this budget the best you can, and you'll do the best to provide the best services with it. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're quite welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions for members of the council? If there aren't any questions, then if somebody wants to make a motion, otherwise, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to accept the personnel total for the veterans of $117,287.61.
So I say Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the veterans personnel budget of $117,287.61. That was seconded by Councilor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion on that one, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Thank you. And myself, yes. So with 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. And then on veterans expenses, is there a motion? Councilor Dominguez.
Motion to accept the veteran expenses of $411,550 total.
Thank you. Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the veterans expenses total of $411,550, seconded by Councilor Flynn. I will call that. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
And myself, yes. 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. And for the department total of $528,837.61, Councilor Flynn moves to approve, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. So, seeing that, I will call Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the veterans department total of $528,837.61, 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Thank you for coming here twice tonight, Kim.
No, hey, listen, I would just like to say one more time, it's always been my pleasure. I really thoroughly enjoy this job, and doing what I can for the veterans in our community. So, and I can't thank you enough for the mayor's support and the continued support of the city council. It's a problem, and it's a real luxury and a real privilege to be doing this job, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. You've been great to work with. So,
Thank you.
So if any of the people we're done with want to drop off the call, they're more than welcome to, unless you really want to sit here for the rest of the night and watch the rest of this. That said, we will go next to the 8302, the Council on Aging budget. We have Teresa Arnold here.
Hi, everybody. Teresa Arnold, good to see you. Just a quick overview of what's been going on as of late. The Council on Aging has been ever busy despite the building being closed to the public. Social services in particular at the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis was incredibly busy, and people really stepped up. Some of the things we did were to make sure that those of our folks who came in for congregate meals who we deemed food insecure were transitioned to Meals on Wheels through elder services. So we knew that those folks who really depended on the lunch every day were getting those meals. In addition, we collaborated with Kerry Murphy from the health department and others in the community to see if we could get some extra food to low-income seniors. Along with Salem Together, we made calls to our most at-risk seniors known to us. We continued to do that through the closure. And we're back to some more regular business now. That really never stopped, like health insurance applications, applying for SNAP, which is the food stamp program, housing, and all those things that our 3 social workers do all of the time. So I'm really proud of the team. They did not miss a beat. And we're starting to see a few people outside on good days with social distancing when we need things like signatures for health insurance applications and such. But they did a great job telephonically. Transportation, we never stopped essential medical, those really important rides like people who depended on us for dialysis. We've now brought back all of our regular medical, easing back in. And that's what we're doing with transportation right now because we think that's the most important. We're looking at July to maybe phase back in a couple of grocery runs a week and just watching for all of the orders, if you will, from the governor, from our city, listening to Massachusetts Council on Aging guidance, talking regularly with other councils on aging. And I would say that we're doing things quite similarly to area councils on aging. We learn a lot from each other. And so we want to be careful with transportation. We have to do social distancing on the vans. So we're just going very incrementally and listening to what the seniors want. We have been doing a lot of programming via Zoom, which is really successful, and SATV, because some of our older seniors aren't as savvy on the technology. So it's really great that Patrick Kennedy was so helpful in getting us on with a program or two every weekday. So that's really great. We're trying to engage people. We've delivered arts and crafts supplies to folks. We've delivered puzzles. We are just trying to engage everybody best we can. Our Facebook page has stepped up. It's kind of a really neat page now. We've got some contests going on. Any way we can engage people, we're doing it. So that's a really good thing too. Let's see, I talked about programming, transportation, social services, and I mentioned the nutrition, making sure people are on Meals on Wheels. I think, once we do open, whenever that may be, the meal program will be the last thing to come back. We can do some outside programming. We can do a little bit of indoor programming with distancing, and again, waiting for those, the guidance to continue. So I think we're doing a good job, and we're very busy. In terms of the budget, We are right now furloughing one social worker for a month. When he comes back on July 6th, another social worker will go out for 3 weeks. Our receptionist is currently furloughed. And we have all but 2 of our part-time drivers furloughed. And so that's helping the budget, we hope, a little bit. And as we ease back transportation, you know, we hope to pull back 1 or 2 of those part-time drivers to meet the needs of the seniors.
So with that, what do you think, I mean, you talked a little bit about it, what do you think is as the approximate timetable for some of this transition back to in-person services? As the summer goes, do you think it's more of a fall issue, or?
I think, well, social services is something that we are resuming now very carefully. If we can do it outside on a nice day, we are. We can bring people in. The social service team, they're really close to the front doors. We've talked about a routine where one person in, that person is long gone before another person comes in. And, you know, we're doing all the things like disinfecting where people sit and just all the practical advice that we can heed, and still trying to meet the needs telephonically for those a little more hesitant about coming in. But we feel that we can do that with social services because they can plan those appointments really carefully. In terms of bringing back programs, I'm on 3 or 4 calls every week with either elder services of the North Shore Merrimack Valley, a couple of regional COA, Council on Aging Director calls. Mm-hmm. And I hear everything from late July to early fall about coming back. At the end of the day, they say, with all of the guidance provided from Mass Council on Aging, at the end of the day, it's listening to our own health agent and our administration with what we offer as good advice about coming back. I think we can do a couple of things the second half of July if okay. COVID kind of stays down.
Okay. Questions, Councillor Flynn?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a question for you regarding this this budget. My daughter is actually interested in the internship. She's been in discussions about that. That's included as a paid line item that's filled annual. So I believe I would have to recuse myself from this. Am I correct?
If she's currently in an internship, or?
She was supposed to be in the running for one before all this started with the COVID-19. So I don't. Maybe Teresa, you would know more about that regarding that Kay Walsh right. Scholarship. My daughter's Alyssa Flynn.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if that was still going to happen with everything going on. Mm-hmm. If I was able to vote on this budget where it's a line item here, I just want to make sure I do the right thing.
Let me just check here. I mean, there's no, I don't see it within the expenses here, but I don't see also, there's no particular reason why you couldn't, why you shouldn't recuse yourself accordingly. I'd, go ahead and cut out on this one and then
okay.
Turn off the video and come back in a bit.
It's on the page with all the staff. It's the bottom. Okay. It says filled annual. There's no name on it, obviously.
Oh, okay.
It's a yearly thing, and it's for $2,500.
Okay,
so
sure.
I will recuse myself.
Okay, very good.
But I do want to tell Miss Arnold, thank you so much for all that she does. You provide a great service to our citizens. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't vote on this budget.
Thank you. If I may speak to that, we worked with Salem State and we reviewed some applications, and Alyssa Flynn was chosen to be the intern for the Kay Walsh scholarship. Internship. It's a $2,500 stipend for the school year, September to May.
All right.
So you would do. So you would. So given that, you will have to recuse yourself. So
okay, that's why I wanted to make sure. I didn't want to mess anything up. She really appreciates that. I do too. But I know I can't vote on the budget obviously because of conflict. Thank you.
and we'll go from there. So anyway, so Councillor Flynn is not with his, so let the record reflect that Councillor Flynn is recused on this issue. Councillor Dominguez?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to say thank you to Teresa, and I wanted to say how wonderful job I see the Council on Aging is doing citywide before the pandemic and after the pandemic. I happened to volunteer in some of the food drive right before the pandemic, and after the pandemic, I hear a lot of good comments about it. So my question to you is, with this cut that we see from maybe you propose a budget of 605, but you only been sent to the total of 5 something. So that doesn't really hurt any of the programs that you are providing, and also the fact that the membership is increasing, because I know a lot of new people coming to the programs. Because the program was in a move increasingly. I hear a lot of people talking about the program, the aerobic, the cooking classes, and everything that you do there. Do you have any hardship by any of the cut that you see right now in the budget?
I think we just have to be smart with the way we spend our time and resources, and we can still meet the needs. I think we need to look to other resources, some grants. We do have a state formula grant that helps us out each year, and God willing, there won't be any real cuts to that. That's a piece of what we do. We do have the Friends of the Council on Aging, and I don't like to over ask, but they are wonderful about, if we're in a pinch or they want to help pay for an instructor, we have them as a resource, and they've been generous. They will continue to be generous. And we'll look to those other resources. I think we can still do a lot with creative programming. My concern always is that we keep those 3 social workers, because we brought the 3rd on a while back, and boy, was he needed. He is ever needed, and that's an important piece of the program. All of it is, but I think people have to be mindful that while we see all of those happy events going on, that the other side of the house is social services, and that's an area that I really want to protect, and as with all of the budget. But I think that we'll be okay, and we'll get through this period like everybody else. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Medor, and then Councillor Morcillo.
Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Sorry.
I have a follow-up.
Okay,
please.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry that I didn't touch the button. The growth, we know that our citizen community might increase based on the population that we have. Are you prepared for that based on this budget? I mean, what happens if you oversee more of what you're expecting to see right now because of this pandemic might bring you more, in this case, more people in need of the services that you provide? Because other private or public senior center might be closing because of the economic situation, and are you prepared for receiving anybody else?
Yes. I just, again, think we have to be really mindful about what we offer, how we stretch ourselves. I think with 3 social workers, we can meet the needs. I think having an intern come on board will help as well this coming year. And it's hard. We don't know what we don't know right now, but we do anticipate growth. But I do feel that there are some people that will back away for a while, who won't want to come into the center. Many will. And I think we have to play that out. It's just really hard to tell. But we have a good team. We're very creative. And I think we've all been doing a little bit of social services right now. I see the day when we might need a 4th social worker, but this isn't the year to ask for that. It's hard to tell, Counselor, but I feel like we have a team that works smart. So I believe it will work out for the coming year.
Thank you. If you're all set, then Councillor.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Madore and then Councillor Marcelo, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Teresa, apologize if you already gone over this line item, but I noticed there's a significant increase in under contracted services, in particular for the landscaping.
Mhm.
Did you already go over that line item? And
No, we did not. That, because we know we're housed with veterans and all of community services, Park and Rec. We do share some expenses with Park and Rec, and we share some staff. This was something that we needed to absorb for the building. It's a new building. We need to maintain it and keep it attractive. So that's an area we wanted to make sure, we could preserve that amount of money.
thank you, Teresa, again through you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering if, given all the cutbacks that we're kind of obligated to take as city staff, is this increase justified? I'm hoping for more detail on what specifically the scope of work is for this landscaping, and if it's something that you feel like needs to be absorbed by Council on Aging, and it looks like the way the line item is written is in particular to the CLC. Is there any way to reduce this or divert it to other line items, like this potentially additional social worker or additional intern that is provides more benefits? So I'm just looking for more details on this line item.
Mm-hmm. Trish, could you help speak to that?
Yeah, I guess what I'd like to just add is this is, as we moved into this new building, obviously the 5 Broad Street really didn't have any much landscaping at all. It was mostly the parking lot and the building. So as we moved into this new building, we did put this out to bid as part of the maintenance plan for this building. So we do feel it is important to keep it up, and I personally don't believe it can be done internally to the level that it needs to with the advanced landscaping that we have here now, and just by the fact that DPW is very stretched right now, they don't really have the bodies to do it. I hope that helps.
This is Mayor Driscoll. I can speak to it as well. The importance of this particular contract for us is making sure that the exterior of the building is maintained, and that includes not only the landscaping, but servicing.
You just cut out there.
And I'm hopeful that we had a portion of this budget in DPS last year, I believe. And I think this year we have just transferred it over to the Community Life Center, so it's clear what this funding will be used for.
Any follow-up questions, Councillor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this contract has been executed, the budget can't be reduced?
I think, go ahead, I'm sorry.
This is Mayor Driscoll again. I think if it's reduced, not only will we not be able to live up to the contract, I mean, contracts are subject to funding, but more importantly, we won't be able to live up to maintenance of the building. We don't want to see the building maintenance slip on the external piece of this property. And we think, believe me, if it was something that we didn't need, I would have certainly curtailed it from the budget beforehand. This was in a portion of the DPS budget, or a portion of this funding was in the DPS budget. We specifically pulled it out so it could be managed under the CLC and make sure it gets the attention that it needs.
If I can clarify some of this a little bit before we kind of go on with the question. With something like this in contracted services, particularly when there's multiple departments that are sharing the facility, the costs have been allocated to this particular area, but assuming I guess assuming that the money was taken out of here in another department, it happens to be a bookkeeping item within this department's budget rather than, say, rec department itself or veteran services or whatever. So long it's just, that's just the department it's managed through.
Thank you. I'm all set.
Thank you. Councilor Marcillo, you had a question as well?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is sort of a generic question. The line item for fuel for vehicles, is that in the DPS budget? Where is that found?
Motor parts and vehicles is in the detail budget for the Council on Aging.
So that includes fuel for the vans?
No, fuel, yeah, fuel is paid within DPS. All municipal fleet is there.
Okay, thank you.
Separate from this. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and also one thing I'll point out for the benefit of everybody going through their book, we do have, this is one of the departments, I mentioned this in the previous meeting, where we do have employees who are being paid for by multiple sources, including grant funding or other departmental funding. You can see that detail on 8308 if you want to dive into that. But we do have a number of people who are paid across multiple departments, and that shows up here. So. That said, any other questions from members of the City Council, or if there aren't, Councilor Dominguez?
I'm ready to make a motion. We're in that stage.
Go right ahead.
Make a motion to accept the personnel council on aging of $476.50.43.
So Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the COA personnel budget of $476,050.43. That was seconded by Councilor Riccardi. And just cross out. So I'll take the roll on that. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So with 5 members, 4 members voting, 1 in the affirmative, 1 member recused, the matter carries. And then we would go to the expenses budget. And if anybody wants to do that, Councilor Dominguez.
I also make a motion to accept the expenses on the Council on Aging for $82,450.
Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the COA expenses budget of $82,450, seconded by Councilor Riccardi. Just make a quick note. Okay, I'll call the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. With 5 members, 4 voting the affirmative, 1 member recused, the matter carries. And for the departmental total of $558,500.43, do I have a motion? Councilor Dominguez makes the motion.
So moved.
Seconded by Councilor Hapworth. Fastest hand. I will call the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes, you do. You guys have been busy, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, with 4 members eligible to vote, 1 member recused, the matter carries 4 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Thank you. That takes care of that. Thank you, Teresa. All right, well.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you. And we hit the other community services areas, so we'll do the remainder of recreation, and then we'll do the remainder of recreation, which is section 22, page 8268. We'll get through all these. That covers administration, golf course, Witch House, Pioneer Village, Winter Island, and such. And they do have some, if I recall, there's some capital as well. And then we will do planning. And then maybe we'll all have dinner. So, Councilor Flynn, okay, you're back.
Read the section again, Mr. Chair.
Pardon?
The section on the...
That is section 22, page 8268.
Okay, thank you.
And there's Patricia. So, Patricia, if you want to run us through your department.
Sure. Thanks, everybody. So as Terry mentioned, she mentioned the fellows for the Council on Aging, as well as the receptionist, which is one of those shared positions that we talked about. And we hope that that helps. We were able to cover some of that front desk coverage with some of our internal rec staff. Basically covered the phones, even though the building wasn't open, we had the phones covered for all of our regular hours. So we've been still busy through the COVID as well. Projects never stopped. Our social workers did an amazing job. They did meet with people consistently over the phone, and when necessary in person. We used all those protocols in place. Although our building wasn't open, our staff transitioned, some of the staff transitioned to working from home, and we are fortunate in our new building that we do have some ability to keep space between our workers. So I think people love it here so much they couldn't stay home, they kept coming in, so that's always a good sign. For the park projects that are continuing, you'll notice a lot going on up at Gallows with the skate park and Gallows, Lower Gallows project for the baseball fields. Hopefully been able to go out and look at projects that were completed as well with the Salem High tennis courts and pickleball, lined for pickleball as well. It was not easy during COVID to sort of shut down playgrounds, and we did the best we could to try to keep up with it. It's challenging, you know, when you open courts and still have to have signs up that say, you know, you can shoot, but you can't play pickup, non-physical. We were constantly updating those signs, but no physical contact in play. It was challenging, but I just wanted to thank the police and our staff for continuing to educate people through this crisis. For programming, we do offer classes online, as Terry mentioned. And we are going to, in the next phase, run our playground programs this summer. Still, we won't be able to do it as we have, which was normally drop-in playgrounds. We will be forced to have people pre-register only because of the governor's limitations on numbers. So that will be kind of a new experience that we'll see how that works. So we've had some part-time summer staff that have been sort of patiently waiting for that next phase to open, where they are agreeing to continue to come and work for us. I'd like to give a little shout out to Kathy McCarthy as well. During the COVID, she was really a champion for securing 80 volunteers for grocery shopping. So we were able to pair 80 volunteers with 80 seniors who needed assistance with shopping, who either didn't have family to help them. They were either out of the area or you know, just didn't have the support that they needed. And some who just go to the grocery store on their own, that it was a challenge. We had to educate them, but also take care of them, because they didn't necessarily see that it was a big danger. So I think Kathy McCarthy did an amazing job of securing those volunteers and working with that volunteer program. Paddleboard and kayaking have started for this summer, and all reports are that is going well. Anything that we run, we come up with a plan and run it through our Board of Health, not our Board of Health, our health agent, and he's been great to work with and really helpful through this process as well. For budget cuts, we primarily took some money out of contracted services for the lifeguarding at Forest River. We lifeguarded that beach last year. We're focusing the lifeguarding this year with that budget cut on Winter Island. So that was one of the major cuts that I chose to take out of the budget.
What level of coverage did you have last year at Forest River?
We had Monday through, we had 7 days a week there, actually. One of the reasons it was a little bit easier to take it out of that budget is because there's a delay in the camps, and a lot of people are not running them or choosing not to run them beyond the YMCA.
Okay.
So we can focus them and kind of gear them towards Winter Island.
So some of that lifeguarding need was because camps were being brought down there, not just because people were attending, just were going there to go hit the beach. So.
Correct.
Your people. Okay, thank you. See, Councilor Flynn has a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Tricia, I just want to say thank you regarding Gallows Hill Park. I've been following that progress, and I think it's going to be beautiful when it's done. I'm also glad about the new wheelchair accessible tilt-a-whirl at the Common. I've checked that out. It looks really good. DPW did a great crew working with you and getting that in there. We still have that swing, obviously, that's going to be going in the Bentley School, correct?
Correct.
I know do you have a timeline on that? I know we discussed it earlier. I don't know. Are we still on schedule? Or?
We're pretty well on schedule. Ray Joden he really saved the city a lot of money by prepping a lot of that site himself.
Sure. Yeah. And
the cost of the surfacing there, that rubber surfacing, is pretty exorbitant. So he was able to save us a lot of money by doing a lot of that prep work himself. And we have the equipment, so it's really just a matter of getting the installation done. So,
great. As you can imagine, there's several children, and there'll be a lot more once the word is out that would love to use this. And I'm glad that the city stepped forward with this. My other question was, I don't know if this falls under you or not, but regarding the Willows Pier, obviously, is it closed for the season? It was one question. And the second, is there a cost associated to getting it back in service if it's possible to get it up this year?
Yep. So how do I describe it? It kind of falls under me, but also with Bill McHugh, the harbor master. And I think the mayor can speak to it, but we are getting state funding to fix that. It is closed right now for safety reasons, and we did fix it last year. With the word from Bill is that we're next on the list for that project with the state. They're working on Deer Island right now. It's really hard to get a timeline from them. So Bill McHugh is pretty consistently trying to call and get more info. We sort of get the same answer that we are the next project.
Okay, thank you. Several people have asked me that, and I'm glad to hear firsthand what's going on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, just to add to that before I recognize the next member, that's a case where Mass Fisheries is putting this pier in. There were some design things. I know I spoke to Bill McHugh about this a couple of times, and there were some design issues because they wanted to maintain having a boat tie-up, which they don't normally do on a fishing pier, but they did want to keep a boat tie-up available with the Willows, so there were some design issues going around that. But as Tricia just said, we're up on the list, and hopefully we'll get one that won't be destroyed after every nor'easter and require some more money sunk into it. So that's the goal here. I've been on a couple of the Mass Fisheries built piers, like the one down in Oak Bluffs and stuff, and they do a great job with these design and building materials on these. These piers tend to survive storms, unlike ours. So that said, I'll recognize Councilor Dominguez who had a question. Then I believe Councilor Morcello had one, and I see Councilor Medor, so everybody's lining up right now. And
thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also wanted to recognize Patrice and the Park Recreation work throughout the city. I happen to be the liaison, and I see how diligent everyone is working there. So I want to thank you. I have a couple of question, maybe not related to the budget, but do you have any time frame when park baseball field is going to be open to pick up games? I had a lot of people asking me about it. I know maybe we follow the state protocol on that, but I just want to know if the city have any intention to have it.
Yeah, so exactly. We're going by Governor Baker's orders right now. So currently, they are able to introduce back to drills only for, say, Little League, but no leagues yet, no games, no scrimmages yet. So right now, Little League is trying to do the best they can to keep distance within their players, have masks if they can't, and really working on some training and fundamental skills versus scrimmaging and playing. That we're not 100% sure what phase that will come in, but obviously it'll be either 3 or 4. So we'll know more on, I think it's June 29th, on what restrictions they will lift for baseball and softball play.
Okay. And just a follow-up question on this related to the budget, and I'd be asking the question to all of the departments mainly. Any effect on the budget cut that you're facing on the program that you provide?
Yeah, I don't think programming. As I mentioned, it was a little bit easier to probably maybe compared to other departments to be able to cut Forest River based on the camps and programs that really have decided not to run, to kind of consolidate that to Winter Island. There may be things that come up with golf course or and I've talked to our finance director Lori Giadella. If something does come up, we can apply for some short-term capital. The main thing was the maintenance, for projects for like work on the Mac Park house and things like that. So as I get those, if we can't do it within the budget, I'll come to you with an explanation of what needs to get done and request some short-term money.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we had Councilor Morcillo and Councilor Medora, then Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you give us a little more information about the ADA park improvements that you're requesting and the citywide playground equipment park updates?
Sure. So for the ADA, I worked with Jenna Ide in terms of the budget and Lori Giadella to determine how much to ask for. We're following basically the reports done this past year for ADA accessibilities. So I forget what percentage we ended up applying for, but we'll have to apply for that annually in the capital budget in order to achieve the goals of what they set out for us. So I know for the first year we wanted to really focus on curb cuts, entering all of our parks from the parking lot areas and really focus on that type of accessibility in this first round. But we'll follow that report of the suggestions from that group. I can't think of the name of the group that did the report that met with us. So
okay.
We'll follow.
What about the playground equipment? Is any of that ADA equipment or?
Yes, we have. As Councilor Flynn mentioned, we purchased 2 pieces last year. Our goal would be to have, although really the common is a completely accessible playground at this point. In terms of the equipment, and I've had some conversations, we're getting two of probably the best pieces that are out there. Some of the accessibility things, even I didn't think until I met with this group. Sometimes I'm always thinking of that kid in the wheelchair that wants to do something, and they continually remind you, think out of the box. You're going to have, say, a grandparent who wants to just watch their kid at a playground. So there needs to be some upgrades surrounding the playground so that a grandparent in a wheelchair, although the child can play on the other equipment, will be able to have ease of access to watch their grandchild. And then that's a general CIP rolling account for anything that might come up for playground equipment repair. I personally would like to see the next budget year, probably Castle Hill could be, I think, a great location because it is accessible, very easily accessible from the street, I'm sorry, from the parking lot to have a fully accessible playground there. So that would be my goal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Madore, and then Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just build off of Councilor Marcello's question. I think the way the CIP is laid out right now, it doesn't really reflect the city's priorities around ADA improvements. And knowing that just from what you said about upgrading park equipment to meet ADA requirements, I think there's a lot of overlap that we can find in these. I'm looking at citywide playground equipment upgrade and court renovations. That's a total of $200,000 as a bonding request, and then $40,000 for ADA improvements. So I think we need to I would like to see more detail on what these playground equipment upgrades are, so that they're not just absorbed into this general bonding request, that there are specific items that are reserved just for ADA, because if it's kind of the ADA upgrades and improvements are kind of rolled into this larger bond request, then it's not cleared out, it's not called out as a clear priority, and it could be looked over. So is there a way you could maybe break some of that out and move that into ADA improvements? I know that the $40,000 is just a ballpark estimate, but I would really like to see specific detail on that so that we know that some of these improvements will be made.
Sure. I mean, we specifically did ask for the 40 based on the AD. The 75 would entail like anything that comes up during the year, irrigation, any type of work that would involve extra work on the baseball fields, fences that break, projects that go over sometimes that happen where we can pitch in, so that like the tennis courts, for example, went over budget. I was able to contribute towards that. So it is a kind of a multi-use category. And that, Lori Giadella's on the line too. That was actually combined, I think, in order to give us that flexibility. And that was, to be honest, that was part of the reason we were able to get those two ADA pieces of equipment put in. And of that 75 last year, that probably entailed almost, I would have to check with Ray, but probably like 40,000 between the Bentley and the Common.
So the court renovations, that there's an increase from, is that an additional request to add to the 75?
No, what we've been doing is we have been rehabbing, again, following the open space master plan, but rehabbing 3 to 4 basketball courts every budget year to upgrade them and get them in better condition. When you go to the open space master plan, a lot of them were in poor condition. So kind of as we go through that cycle, the first courts would be due again. They typically are about every 8 years.
So the 75 from this fiscal year was not spent. So I'm just trying to understand the increase.
I don't know. I think she did. I think it was just combined. So we had irrigation, fence, court upgrades, I think, were in there. And we separated it based on the needs and based on quotes for how much it costs for the court upgrades.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just have one more question. Again, I just want to emphasize for the 2 line items. Well, actually, I think any of these CIP requests that are specifically are specifically for ADA improvements, I think they all need to be moved to ADA park improvements to that request, just so that they don't get looked over. So is there...
so then we would have no money for any other issues or any other park improvements.
Say that again?
So if we move 75 over, in addition to the 40, we wouldn't have that pool for any other park improvements, any other issues, any other things that went wrong with like the common irrigation or fencing, things that are broken.
So that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not suggesting you move the 75 over. I'm saying that for any of these CIP requests, if there is, within the scope of work, if there is funding set aside specifically for ADA improvements, I think those need to be broken out and moved to the ADA improvement CIP requests so that they don't get looked over. If for each project, maybe the funding is short, ADA maybe be cut or looked over. So I just think they need to be broken out to specify that these are set aside for ADA improvements by project. So I'm not saying move one CIP request completely over. I'm saying break out those pieces to move over to ADA improvements. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or Dominic, you want to say something?
Yeah, please, Dominic.
I was just going to say, I think it's possible when we're conducting an improvement project, if there are elements that are ADA compliance related, it can be funded from the ADA budget. Is that what you're asking, that it be separated? Yeah, I think we can draw from different lines to support different elements of a contract if there's a project going on that has elements that are ADA related and elements that are just kind of general improvements that are not specific to accessibility.
And at that point, funding would come from whatever area appropriate to that department on it. I see Lori has her hand up as the finance director, so.
So I just wanted to say that the CIP projects, there were a number of lines that were very detail oriented, but one of the things that we were trying not to do is to list too many items, because based on a conversation that I had with bond counsel, who felt as though we should be having less line items when it comes in a little less detail when we're approving these, because it gets very involved when you're trying to borrow money when we have this many level of detail. What we should do, we could do, is provide you with some additional supporting documentation for the ADA projects. But a lot of these projects were including ADA components from what I could see when we were looking through some of the items on the list.
Thank you. I think I'm mainly just looking for detail on these project specific, well, not really even project specific, but when I see a very general title saying citywide playground improvements, I really would like to see more detail on what that means.
Okay.
Is it equitably distributed? Is it going towards ADA improvements, given that that's something that us as a community has really highlighted as an important component of our public spaces. So I just want to make sure those improvements be made, and seeing a general description like this, it doesn't speak to that kind of value that we are trying to advance.
Could I weigh in for 1 minute? This is Mayor Kim Driscoll again. I think, Christine, you make a really good point. How things get crafted in a budget don't always reflect what actually might be either the intention or the outcome of the project. Keep in mind, we don't always know what repair items we're going to be making, right now in June, what might break in August, whether it's a swing set or an irrigation system or things like that. But we do have the transition plan from the Institute for Human-Centered Design. We are serious about looking at that as a work product and creating an action plan for us going forward. And I think we can provide a listing of, hey, here are some of the accessible initiatives or projects that we tend to take on over this year, over next year. And it's almost like a mini capital planning effort that's underway. And I think how we categorize that and demonstrate that to the council can happen outside of the budget function. And we can probably do a better job of trying to tie together those priorities within the budget. Like that playground equipment line item or repair line item has been in the budget for the last 10 years as a means to say we have upgrades and maintenance items. We can't come into the council every August to repair a swing or, general repairs that need to be made. But we also have some intentional accessibility improvements, and how do we make sure we're putting that priority into meaning and demonstrating that to you. And I think we can do that for sure.
Yes, also, Christine, I can give you that information from the past year. So part of what Lori Giardello was speaking to also is, fortunately, because we had that money, we were able to, for example, the tennis courts, we were able to put some of that money towards the accessible ramp that was not in the original bid package to meet that code. So some of that money went to that. And like I said, probably about 40,000 of that last year went to the ADA equipment and projects at the Common and the Bentley School before the Institute for Human-Centered Design did their report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe Councilor Riccardi had a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The majority of my questions have gone over. I still wanted to ask about the court renovations again, because it does go up from 75 to 125. And you mentioned that you try to improve 4 to 5 courts a year. Are we trying to increase the number of courts that we're improving next year, or has the cost of the court renovation gone up? Or are we now including the ADA accessibility to get to those courts that we're renovating?
Yeah, some of that would go to the accessibility. So we got quotes based on the current conditions of the various courts. Also, we had secured some money to do the Willows tennis courts over. And we ended up taking some of that money, putting it towards the Salem High School courts to get those completed with the hopes of kind of combining that Salem Willows court with the phase 1 of the Willows project. So I think the Willows tennis courts are probably why that is an increase as well, and based on quotes.
Gotcha, thanks. And then two other comments. I'll make a quick comment that I was very happy to hear that the summer programs will be back this summer. Beyond excited to hear that. And I also wanted to just make a comment about the Park Ambassador program. And I saw one of the goals was revitalizing the dog park board members. I think those are just 2 programs that I think would be immensely helpful and somewhat low cost with helping maintain our parks in the area. So I just wanted to kind of point out those goals and really comment on them, that I think that they would be a great asset and a good goal to work for next year.
Thank you.
So I have 2 things that I'd like to ask about in in projects. One is, what is our timing on getting the Forest River bathrooms usable again? I know right now, to be somewhat indelicate, now that basketball courts and stuff are open again, I'm getting reports of people deciding to use the fence since the bathrooms are not accessible.
I'll have to check with DPW on that, but I know that they were kind of going along with when things opened up with Little League. I know Ray was working on that very recently, so that they should be open very soon. The money last year, another example of some of that extra money, where the budget for the CPA money for the renovations to the Forest River bathrooms to make those accessible, that went over budget as well. So that CIP money again helps to kind of finish projects that may not quite have been finished. But I'll check with Ray when we get off this call. But I know that he was planning on having them up and ready when Little League started.
Okay, that's the main thing I was trying to learn, just for the benefit of my own neighborhood. Besides that, I'm just taking here. Obviously, there's no pool maintenance this year because there's no pool. As far as the just general schedule of upgrades, of park upgrades, with the budget amount change and all that, where are we at roughly right now? And also, how is the golf course coming back now that they're open again?
Golf course is going well. I don't know how many of you are golfers or walkers in the off season, but the golf cart path project is complete. There's a final punch list of small items with the contractor, but other than that, they're off site, and the landscaping is complete again, except for a few punch list items. The rest will be continue to be done internally by Paul Lever. It was not always easy. It's not always easy dealing with the lowest bidders, but I'm really pleased with how that came out. And I encourage you to go golf if you haven't, or take a walk and check it out. Eventually, we'd like to apply for more money for the second phase. That would involve any of the cart paths that go over conservation land, water, because there'll have to be some bridges done as well. With COVID and housing and all that, it wasn't a priority this year for CPA, but we'll reapply next year. And then what was the first question?
The general upgrade schedule that we're trying to follow as far as courts and maintenance. I know we have some significantly upgraded basketball courts, and they look great.
Yeah. So this past year we did Mac Park, High Street Park, and Cabot Farms. And is there one more? I think we patched another one that was in okay shape. I have to talk to Ray and go over the plan on which parks are next. And then for maintenance, we have contracted services for some of the open green space fields. I know that the crew is focusing on weeding, because there weren't games going on that kind of fell back, but they're focusing on that in these last couple of weeks to get all the fields up and ready with weeding as well.
All right, great, thank you. Any other questions? Anybody else with members of me? Councilor Dominguez? Actually, I'll go Councilor Morcillo, because I think I saw her first. So Councilor Morcillo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are we doing all of the subparts?
Yes, we have to do those all separate. We do those all separately.
Are we discussing them all right now, or?
You can discuss them right now if you'd like, but we'll probably go into detail on those as we go through.
I can wait then. It's okay. Fine.
Yeah, it's probably better for the sake of this because one department. Councilor Dominguez?
Are we ready to make a motion on this part right now?
Sure. I'll entertain a motion if you wish.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion on the Park and Recreation personnel, 344 with 50 to 28 cents to be accepted.
Okay, so Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the Parks and Recreation personnel budget of $344,457.28, seconded by Councilor Flynn. So, seeing no further discussion on that, call the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. That matter carries. And on the expenses budget of $224,825, do I have a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Flynn. I'll call the roll on that one. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Councilor myself. Yes. 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. That matter carries. And on the departmental total of $569,282.28, do I have a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Flynn, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Call the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the departmental total for general administration on $569,282.28. 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. We now go to the golf course. The budget is on page 8280 for detail. Biggest piece of land in Ward 3. So anything specific? I know we discussed that briefly a moment ago. Anything from any councilors want to discuss that on the golf course?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just quickly asking Patrice, if I recall perfectly, you mentioned that the golf course is functioning pretty well during the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, Governor Baker surprised all of the golf courses when he announced an opening probably about 2 to 3 weeks before anyone was expected to open. We were about 2 weeks behind some golf courses only because we were finishing that cart path project for safety reasons.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to try to stay out of their way, not have them worry about us being in the way, so we could hustle them out there and get the job done. It was a challenge changing people's habits, but I think the staff up there did a great job of forcing people to keep their distance and enforcing as best they could masks when not possible. People are, like Terry said, sometimes people are still a little bit hesitant to go out, but something about golf, they were ready to go outside and get out there on the course. So they were booked pretty quick once we opened. They did force us to stagger tee times more than usual, mm-hmm. So the revenue would not be as much as if there weren't those regulations. So
yeah, I haven't started playing it myself because it would increase the health hazards for people given the way I spray the ball. But any questions on the golf course side? Hopefully, hopefully revenues bounce back well from that later opening. And
yeah, I think as restrictions ease on tee times as well, they'll be able to get back.
Very good. Any further questions on the golf course from members of the committee or members of the city council? Councilor Dominguez.
Ready to make a motion if
you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to approve the personnel on Park and Recreation Golf Section personnel of $326,751 with 62 cents. So, thank you. Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the Parks and Rec Golf personnel budget of $326,751.62. That was seconded by Councilor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion on that one, I will call the roll. Councilor Dominguez. Yes. Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Rigardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So with 5 members voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. On Parks and Recreation golf expenses of $227,438, do I have a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Flynn, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Call the roll on that one. Councilor Dominguez. Yes. Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Ricardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So 5 members voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. That matter carries. On the departmental total of $554,189.62, do I have a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Hapworth. Calling that, Councilor Dominguez. Yes. Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Ricardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the matter of the departmental total of $554,189.62, 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. Now we'll go forward a couple more pages to Recreation Witch House. That's 280. The budget for that is on 28287, and also includes the seasonal help. So. Yep, Councilor Marcello.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question about the outcomes and performance measures for both this and Pioneer Village. Just comparing them, it looks like you're estimating that attendance and revenue will be going down for the Witch House in 2021, but increasing for Pioneer Village. Do you know why that would be?
What do you have for your numbers? I have to jump from, hold on, revenue, that's Pioneer. Well, all I can say is it's just an estimate. So I would have to refer that to Elizabeth as the director of the Witch House. Actual 529. I think that her numbers will go over that. It may also have been because of COVID. I mean, we have been closed at the Witch House, and we still are closed. We normally do get a significant amount of tourists, usually all year long, including the winter now. And we aren't phased to be open until the last, I believe, the last phase. So she probably incorporated that in her estimates.
Which makes sense to me. I think it's the Pioneer Village numbers going up that.
Well, I can tell you there's one major factor to Pioneer Village, which is that it was only late last year that the construction that had kept that place essentially closed for 2 years was finally finished. So now it's accessible, it's visible again, all the construction equipment is gone. There's a nicely paved and lined parking lot to get into it. So I'm guessing that without Elizabeth in here to discuss details, I'm guessing that one thing that may have been a big factor is the fact that people can get to this destination again if they do come to Salem.
Absolutely. Yep. The accessibility and the parking lot is amazing and much more accessible.
One other thing to consider, this is Kim again, is many of our logistics, like the factors that you're reporting to, Councilor Marcillo, were put together as part of the first budget, right? which was pre-COVID. So we can certainly inquire with Elizabeth about it, who put these numbers together, and we've got a couple of theories. But my hunch is those data points were put together prior to COVID with an expectation that we might see a slight increase with the improvements, and just probably weren't changed to reflect the post-COVID world.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in this budget that wasn't tied directly to something, or that wasn't directly tied to finances that never got revised. Councilor Dominguez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It does also reflect on, you see the departmental budget total, the difference between the mayor approved is like $60,000. It does have to do with that. You just mentioned, Mayor, through you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor.
Sure. Mayor, if you want to, speak, yep. Or you, Trish.
Yeah, sure. I think a number of budgets were put together prior to COVID, when we did have to go back to our department heads and ask them to look at their budgets again and provide us with some additional cuts, or went back to them and said, hey, we're going to make some additional cuts in these areas. How are these going to impact your operation? So that's why you're seeing such a big decrease from what was requested by department heads and what you have before you. It certainly isn't because we don't value the work, or don't think there's lots of areas where we'd like to invest more. It's just because of the reductions in revenue that we have between the state aid cuts and the local receipts cuts that we had to go back and trim further.
Follow-up question on that, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely.
If I may. Let's put the scenario that the economy wasn't going back and the visitors start coming back. Are we prepared for that in budget time, in case, say for example, we expecting less people because of the COVID? We understand that's part of what we're facing nationwide. But what happens if we have the over crowd coming back? and we already have a cut on the budget. Do we have any plan B in case?
So
Yeah, excellent question, Councilor Dominguez. I think at the beginning of our budget hearing, the first one, we talked about this year's budget really being more of a placeholder, right? We're making best judgments and guesstimates based on what we have for revenues and what we think, obviously, we're going to need with respect to something like this, a visitor industry amenity at Pioneer Village. So I expect that we will be monitoring closely both revenues and expenditures, and that we will be back in to see the City Council either to make adjustments upward or downward, depending upon what we're seeing with trends. We still don't have a final local aid number. We've never recovered from a pandemic before, so it'll be the first time for us to learn, is consumer confidence going to be high? Are people going to be coming out, to visit Salem, to go out to eat, to stay in hotels? We're making best guesstimates, but right now we don't have a lot of clarity. And as the picture gets painted a little bit more certain, we may likely have to come in to ask for adjustments in the budget. Does that make sense, Councilor?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Also, Councilor Dominguez, Elizabeth has been working with minimal staff because the witch house isn't open. So hopefully, she saved in some of that area. She really only had people there from marketing and getting things ready in the gift shop for the crowds when they're allowed to. And then the larger budget, which the mayor mentioned, the larger request was really doing some work to the witch house itself. So in discussions with Elizabeth, that would be like a prime example of as we see how things go, we may come in and request money for some of the work to be done to the clapboards and primarily I think she was looking at clapboards for this year. So that's something that we can do next year. We could come in and do some of it this year. But that's a good example of what we would come to you for short-term capital.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions on the Witch House side of the budget? I will note that the personnel for Witch House and between Witch House and Pioneer Village are all in here. And the Pioneer Village side is expenses only. That's just a way that it's always been, the bookkeeping has always been done on this because it's under the same director. Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make a quick comment that I recently walked down to Forest River and I saw Pioneer Village and it looked great and I wanted to go there for the first time ever. So there might be an increase this year with a lot of people all of a sudden seeing this outside amenity that, really is kind of good for social distancing if people are visiting. But I'd also like to move to adopt, if we're ready to go, the department budget.
Yeah, if there's no further questions, then you're moving on personnel?
Yep.
So, Councilor Dominguez, do you have a question or are you just seconding?
I second.
Okay, well, let me read it out first. So, Councilor Riccardi moves to accept the Parks and Recreation Witch House personnel budget of $157,568.34. That's seconded by Councilor Dominguez. So, seeing no further discussion on that one, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. That matter carries. And then I guess, do I have a motion on the Parks and Recreation Witch House expenses of $81,180? Councilor Dominguez so moved, seconded by Councilor Flynn. No further discussion. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So 5 councilors voting on expenses, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. On the departmental total of $238,748.34, motion made by Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion on that. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So 5 counselors voting on the departmental total of $238,748.34. 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. And from here, we will go 2 more to do. We have Pioneer Village, which is expenses only. That is 8,293. And if there's any questions specific to this. Anybody have any questions specific to Pioneer Village side? If there are not, I would, if there are not, I would take a motion on the department total there. Councilor Dominguez. You have to unmute.
Yeah, I move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilor Dominguez moves to approve the department total for Pioneer Village of $18,600, seconded by Councilor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, on the Pioneer Village departmental total of $18,600, 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. And the last thing for us to discuss with REC is Winter Island personnel and expenses. So always a good one. So Trish, if you want to bring us up on Winter Island.
Sure. So that also was a slow opening due to COVID. The recommendations were to have at least 20 feet between the campers, the mobile home, for the COVID. So we started out with every other. That seems to be working well. We've got staff there that are ensuring social distancing for use of the restrooms and the showering facilities. It's somewhat of a challenge, but again, it's not as crowded as usual, so so it's manageable at this point. Tents are, I believe, coming into place July 1st for opening up to tenting as well. We did leave reservations up online, working with Reserve America, so we have been doing a lot of refunds for people who have backed out of those reservations. Not really surprising, and the Treasurer's Office has been really helpful in assisting with that. But still a fairly steady amount is starting. He's seeing some come back online now to reserve. So I think it'll be similar to the other areas where it won't make as much money as it has in the past, unfortunately. But it is busy to our Salem residents, and the beach has been very busy. So it's still crowded, and people are out there on beautiful days. I think that the major change in my requests were more for some equipment purchases for Dave. I know he has a Tommy gate that needs to be replaced, and again, because of COVID, we understand cuts and could be something that we can pursue next year, or come to you if we really can't get by.
Okay. Any questions? Councilor Hapworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I noticed a projection of a revenue increase on Winter Island. Is that primarily because of the boat storage? Is that where the majority of the income comes from? Because you mentioned that there was obviously with the social distancing, there was a decrease in the campers.
Yeah, I think that those numbers were definitely done before COVID, for expectations. The boat ramp money goes actually to a separate account. It goes to public access account, specific to the boat ramp and any boating activities.
So all of the storage that happens over the winter there for the okay.
Yeah. So for Winter Island, it comes down to just the campground itself.
Okay, so that's projected as obviously I'm sure a decrease at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boat storage is a harbor master account. It's one of our revolving funds.
Thank you.
Sure.
Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two things really quick. I like seeing the 10 55-gallon plastic dome top drum lids with trash cans as one of the purchasing goals for maybe not fiscal year 21, but in general. I think all parks could probably use those covered trash cans. And I was wondering if there was a reason as to why they didn't have the covered trash cans, because I feel like every park, not necessarily the people that can't get the trash in the trash can, but it's the animals and the birds taking the trash out of the trash can. That can get a little frustrating. And then my second comment was on the goals and objectives for Winter Islands. There are very specific ADA compliance items listed here. So there's the ramp leading into the function hall, addressing other discrepancies noted in the transition plan. There was a lot for Winter Island, like the bathrooms, things like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't see any line items at all other than that, general 40,000 ADA line that we talked about earlier. So I didn't know if that was somewhere else or just.
Yeah, so that would fall under again under that that blanket CIP of park upgrades and renovations for ADA. So that falls under my budget in Park and Rec.
So the blanket 40,000 or the blanket 75 or perhaps.
So the 40 is specific to ADA, but part of the 75 will likely go to some of those same goals. And he listed all the goals that were basically on the report.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on Winter Island? And if there aren't any more, if anybody wants to take it from there, Councilor Dominguez.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the Park and Recreation Western Island personnel budget of $194,195.29.
So Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the Parks and Recreation Winter Island personnel budget of $194,195.29, seconded by Councilor Flynn. Thank you. Seeing no discussion on that one. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. On the Parks and Recreation Winter Island expenses of $71,700, do I have a motion? It's moved by Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Flynn. I will call the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the expenses, Winter Island expenses budget of $71,700, we have 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. On the departmental total of $265,895.29, Councilor Flynn moves to approve, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. I'll call the roll. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Himself, yes. So on the Parks and Recreation Winter Island total budget of $265,895.29, 5 councilors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Thank you, Trish.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you all of your support.
Guys. All right. And now from here, we go to Planning General Administration, which is 8196, and it goes a while till through a lot of stuff. They're planners. They write a lot of things down. And from there, it goes to 8210 is the first budget page of that. So with that, I will go to Mr. Daniel, who's been waiting all this time, and you're up. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for, we do put a lot in there just to kind of keep track of all the things going on. I just want to note that, so the planning department budget is actually There's 5 different sections of it. There's general administration, planning board, conservation commission, historical commission, market and tourism. If it's okay, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to talk generally. And
yes, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. And just to start off, I just want to acknowledge the staff of the planning department and do that publicly and thank them. During all this, during the pandemic, everyone in the department has really pitched in, done lots of different things, and helping in many different ways. So we were responding to federal programs that are out there through CDBG. We were able to get a rental assistance program launched. We're able to get additional funding to some of our social service agencies, providing food and shelter. And then we've been working on economic development recovery. And it's really been everyone pitching in, helping out in lots of different ways. So and I'm super pleased. It's always been a great team. And during these past 2 months, it's been really impressive. And I just want to talk a little bit about the economic development recovery and revitalization work. That's been a big addition to our regular work that we're doing. So we staff 12 boards and commissions in the department. I think we were the first department to sort of delve into the Zoom space, and Mason Wells really did a lot of work working with Matt Killen and the city clerk to help figure out an approach that would work for those meetings. And the economic development work, the task force that has been meeting since mid to late March, has really done a lot, and it's been a fantastic group. So Council Medora is a member of that, along with staff in the planning department, Kate Newhall-Smith, Seth Petrell, and Brittany Dolan, as well as Kate Fox from Destination Salem, Venus Ostuk from the Salem Chamber, Beth Depsky from the Partnership, John Andrews from Creative Collective, Kylie Sullivan from Main Street's North Swanson, from the Enterprise Center, and Lucy Corchado from Point Neighborhood Association as well. And we've done a lot, both as a group and then with our member organizations. So one of the things was really focused on what was going on with businesses. Where were they? What were their needs? So we did 2 surveys. We did extensive interviews with 56 businesses. And what came out on the top was the need for assistance with personal protection equipment and sanitization supplies, looking at marketing support, and then for restaurants to provide the expansion of dining premises outside. So we've been able to move in all of those. We had in addition to that, we had CDBG funding that went along with some city funds to support 51 grants to businesses. We've got 300 PPE kits that are being distributed this Friday. And then the marketing program has been rolled out with Salem Together Pledge that'll be continuing. A big thing that we've done is also just regular communication. We have a weekly newsletter that Kate Fox from Destination Salem and John Andrews and the team at Creative Collective have been amazing every week, providing a lot of information to businesses about, going back a couple months, it was about the Paycheck Protection Program and how to apply for it, about reopening guidelines, just trying to get as much information as we could get out to folks. We also convened a series of webinars and focus groups, and that work is ongoing. There is a shift now. We're sort of, those top priority items we're here and now. We're now looking at the next phase of supports on some other tools that we'll be working on for later this summer, the fall, and through the winter. We do know some businesses that are not going to be reopening, and so part of that is looking at working with vacant spaces. We're also working with the workforce board, Mary Saris and her team, to support people in terms of employment and opportunities through working with them. So a lot of fantastic work, again, by many, many people with lots of partners. And that's in addition to, the bread and butter work at the department. So in addition to the 12 boards and commissions, staff either work on a planning project or a park project or some construction project or policy work. And so that all that work has been continuing. Just to hit a couple highlights for some of the bigger things on the planning horizon, the municipal harbor plan is getting underway. So we'll be having the first public meeting for that in August. We're working to get that scheduled. We're doing a joint climate action plan with the city of Beverly. So that public kickoff will be happening in the next couple of months as well. The Highland Avenue study that was funded earlier this year, that was one that got put on pause due to the pandemic. That will be getting underway later this summer as well. On the project front, so the largest project is the court, the redevelopment authority's project for the courts and the Crescent parking lot. Those proposals were initially due the end of April. We moved that back to the end of June, so those will be coming in, and we'll be working through this summer and early fall with selecting a developer on those. A number of park projects that we're working on. There's already discussion this evening about Gallows Hill, Mansell Field, Palmer Cove, the Willows, so different trail projects as well. Collins Cove is getting wrapped up, and then Harmony Grove is another trail. And then some other projects. We're happy that the Charter Street Cemetery is getting underway, and then there's work on Dixon Memorial Chapel. The common fence installation for the Space 4 is wrapping up this week. And then Almay's Clock is another project that's moving forward. So I'm happy to take questions. And obviously I didn't talk about housing, but that's been a huge body of work as well, and that policy work is continuing as well.
Councillor Hepworth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom, I noticed there was a pretty big cut in, I guess, contracted services. Assuming that, is that the Salem 400 position?
No, that actually the big reduction there was from the Zaxter bike share contract.
Okay.
So we had, when we first started doing the budget, we thought Zaxter might still be in the mix through municipal procurement. When it came time to revise, we still have Blue Cross Blue Shield money, and so we were going to be using that, and now Zaxter is no more. So we do have in the specific line for what's called Zaxter contract, we've got $1,175 there. We also have Blue Cross Blue Shield money. So we've got resources there to work with a potential vendor on the so that a bike share can be operable.
Okay. Where would out of curiosity, where would a position like that be? Because I think that's a position that we no longer fill based on a departure. We didn't fill it. Where would that fall in this budget? I guess that's the first part of the question. The second part is it does seem that a lot is sort of getting layered into planning in the last few years, and just wondering if you've seen examples in other communities where planning has taken on the amount of sort of responsibility that our planning department has, and if it's something that might make sense in the future to spin off something potentially a little more focused around history and culture in Salem, rather than sort of layering it into planning that also already has their hands full with housing and other important initiatives.
Yeah, so the position was a contracted for working on Salem 400 and Imagine Salem. Those funds actually came from the city's 400 account, which is it's not a planning department account. So that was the source for that contract. To your other question, I know planning departments in lots of communities tend to be the place where if there's a need and someone's looking, well, where should we put that? Sometimes it winds up in planning because I think skill sets kind of lead to some flexibility and sort of, knitting things together as well as terms of a framework. In terms of art, culture, and history, which I think was part of your question, I have seen those within planning departments. I mean, it's actually a city our size. I think we're fortunate to have the staff that we have and the sort of areas that we work in. In a larger city, there are standalone departments that would be sort of an art and culture. Like the city of Cambridge has an art and culture department. I don't know the extent to which history fits into there. So I think it varies depending on the scale of the city and sort of the agenda of work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Further questions from members of the committee or councilors, Councilor Madore?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Tom, for all the work you do. I know you're taking on a lot of extra stuff, so I appreciate all the effort and your staff as well.
Thank you.
I know that some of the CDBG funding that the city has received from the CARES Act goes directly into some of the economic recovery work that you just highlighted. And I would imagine that some of that work will need to be preserved for the next several years to continue this response. That I think we set up a pretty good framework on how to respond to the longer term impacts of COVID. So through your budgeting process, is that kind of work incorporated and preserved into the work that your staff is going to do? Or, because just looking at the budget, it's not very clear if any of this additional CDBG funding is folded into the work for the next few years.
Yeah, through Mr. Chair, there's a future round of CDBG money that hasn't been released, and we don't know what that money, how much that will be. So that's a potential pot of money. This budget itself does not have, the budget this before you does not have funding reserved for COVID response activities. What we are looking at doing is an application to the Economic Development Administration that would sort of frame out a 2-year program to carry forward that recovery work that's been framed out by the task force. And so that would be a source to continue some of that work. And we're trying to set up a call with the EDA rep in Philadelphia actually to talk about more. We've had some general conversations, but trying to talk with her this week to get more specific on that. Because the need will be there, and I think that's, like as we've talked about in the task force, I think right now there's enthusiasm. People are able to dine out, retail, different businesses are opening up, and yet we know through our surveys and interviews that although some businesses have been amazing in terms of the creativity and their ability to pivot, there are a number of businesses that are really on the edge, and so the supports for those businesses or the supports for those vacant spaces are going to be different from what we need today.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, certainly.
I was really pleased at our ability to provide small business grants, and I hope we can continue to do that. I believe we might have the funding, additional funding through CDBG to do that. Can you correct me on that, and whether that's if it's been considered to roll into the small business loan program that we already offer?
Right. So We don't have right now an identified pot for additional business grants through CDBG or another source. In addition to this EDA grant application that I was talking about, we are looking at a regional loan pool, working with private lenders with some either foundation or public dollars to support that. As one strategy, these would be lower interest loans. And then we're also working with, exploring with Mass Development. They have a revolving loan fund for larger size loans that are very low interest through the Economic Development Administration. Where we're trying to explore an opportunity for them to actually work with a community development financial institution to generate smaller scale Main Street business loans.
Sounds good.
Thank you. I just have one more question about the CIP, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just need to go to that page one time. So there's a long list of CIP requests, and I'm wondering if there are plans to apply for CPA funding to match some of these projects.
So there has been some CPA requests for some of these. Is there anyone in particular? I could run through the list. If you'd like.
Counselor, is that good? She's still looking things on mute.
Looking at the list.
So the bigger ones that would be, so for instance, Palmer Cove, that park renovation has CPA funding that was awarded to it. The Mansell Field is not, for this piece, this is really trying to advance the analysis and the design, both civil and landscape architecture, to have a plan. And then there'll actually be the solicitation of funding needed for that could have CPA in it as well. Dixon Memorial Chapel is one that this is looking to complete the door repair, and we didn't request CPA for this one. Just looking to do this out of capital. The bike parking infrastructure was one that wasn't, we didn't submit for CPA. It wasn't a right fit. The Artist Row bathroom renovation is one that also we did not pursue CPA for that. And then the other big project is the Willows on there as well.
So I'm only.
I'm sorry. We try to with most of the park projects, we're pursuing state park grant funding, which is maxed out at $400,000. And then if we can use CDBG, if it's if the park is eligible, we'll use some CDBG. And then it's looking at how much can we get from CPA, what's the competition on CPA, and then what's the CIP portion. So we're typically getting 3 or 4 different sources into a park project.
For Artist Row, sorry, not Artist Row, Old Town Hall, has that been considered?
Yeah. So for Old Town Hall, this the money for this is looking at, well, there's sort of the minor repair stuff that's wouldn't be CPA eligible, and then there's a more significant effort that is looking at the basement, and part of this is having the restrooms be more efficiently laid out. There's some ADA compliance things that we want to get done in the restrooms as well. But making the basement more functional, there's a lot of just storage space down there that's not well utilized. With the sort of bigger long-term goal about investments in the building to allow it to be activated more often. And so I think that bigger project is something that, you know, we'd be looking at Mass Cultural Council, grant funding, CPA funding. So this level is just kind of the preliminary study level. The bigger capital improvement would be in the future, hopefully next fiscal year, where we'd be looking at that. And so CPA would definitely be one of the sources we'd be looking at there as a match for what we'd hope would be a Mass Cultural Council facilities grant.
Thank you, I'm all set.
Thank you. Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to echo also thank to Tom and his department. I happened to participate in some of the meetings that you provided at the beginning of the pandemic, which was very helpful and very educated. I had a couple of questions for you regarding some of the recovery, and one from directly from the personnel department salaries. Are your department in the program of the furlough, and how many employees accepted, and can you go over and explain how was impacted on that area? Because I see a difference between 2020 and 2021. Even though we cut it, I know that you asked for more, but you was reduced to 518. That is still significantly more what you got from 2020. So can you go over that numbers, please? And that's that part. If you can. The other part of my question is based on the recovery program. How many, if you can say, you can have any information, how many of the businesses that participate in the program are in the process of being recuperated? I know that we just opened the second phase in which the restaurant opening, but we know that we have the landlords, we have all the type of businesses that are in that group. Can you give us an idea how we look on regard to recover, how we are right now, and what we're expecting to see from now on?
Sure, yeah. So regarding the furlough, we have 4 staff people who volunteered for furloughs, one for 1 week, one for 2 weeks, one for 3 weeks, and one for 4 weeks. And so the schedule for those was done to accommodate some workflow and board meetings to minimize the disruption of the board processes, to keep those on a kind of regular schedule, to keep those in place to the greatest extent possible. And we had requested adding a position and a half to address just the volume. The department is very, very busy, and this is pre-pandemic, and trying to add some capacity to allow us to move forward on some things that we'd like to do, some studies and projects more quickly. And since we're not able to do that, we just, we need to manage according to the staffing that we've got. Regarding the business recovery, so I think, that's something that we're going to be monitoring. We got 51 grants out to businesses across the city. We've got the PPE starter kits going out on Friday to 300 businesses. The restaurants, this is now I've lost track. I think this is their second week, their third week. I've lost track of having the outdoor dining. And obviously now they can have some of their indoor spaces. We've had a lot of engagement with businesses, and so one of the things we're wanting to do is set up sort of a tracking call we're actually going to be talking about this at our task force meeting, to sort of check in with businesses. And, you know, we've talked to them a couple of times now in this, you know, at the beginning before closure had even happened, and then before businesses knew when they were going to be opening. And now that that's become a bit clearer, trying to get a better sense for how they're going to do. In part, it's also, you know, you mentioned the landlords. You know, landlords can be sort of an early warning system. You know, if they're not getting paid by, you know, getting paid the rent from their tenants, then, you know, clearly there's an issue there. And so we've talked with some of the landlords who have provided some flexibility to tenants, and I think that's an ongoing conversation that we need to have. I think the other factor out there, just for everyone to keep on their radar screen, is that for individuals who are laid off right now and collecting unemployment, they're getting $600 more each week. And that runs out at the end of you know, July 25th. And so I think there's two things that are concerning to me. One is people who may not have a job to go back to because their job, someone else has that position, or the business doesn't need that position now. And are they then going to become, you know, housing challenged? You know, maybe they'll have money to pay August rent, but what's going to happen in September and October? So I think that, you know, there are some businesses who have announced that they're closing. We had one business that declined a grant because they indicated they just weren't going to make it. And that's sad. It's really gut wrenching when you talk to these business people, you know, poured their hearts and their money into a business. And, you know, we're used to being able to help problem solve and strategies and find solutions. And, you know, we're not able to do it for everyone. So I think it's a long-winded answer, and I apologize for the length of the response, but I just want to emphasize that it's going to continue, the landscape's going to continue to change. And so for us, one of the big things we've done in the task force is provided a lot of communication, and that's communicating out, but also listening back. And that's something we're going to continue to do. And then that's going to help inform us, you know, about these other strategies that I was talking about for the fall and the winter time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Any additional questions from councilors at this point on the planning general department? Councilor Riccardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For you, Mr. through you, Mr. Daniel, through the chair. Sorry, it's late. I just had a quick question. It was touched on briefly about the Zagster contract, and that was a big reason why the contracted services was lower. There's no additional money budgeted for next year. I'm just curious why that's with the planning department and not with the traffic and parking department. It's because is it because it will be a new contract? But I would think an existing contract going, you know, onward, it would be more something with traffic.
We didn't have a traffic and parking department when we started doing bike sharing.
That's the answer. And so we actually, this budget year, we talked about transferring it over, and it just didn't happen. So Tom Devine in the planning department is, you know, we share. I mean, it's, you know, we're separate departments, but we work really, really closely together with each other. So, but the reason is just that's where it started.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Riccardi?
I'm sorry, I turned my page and I did have one more question mark. I was just curious, this is just a knowledge question on the expenses. It lists annual DEP audit fees for open projects, and Furlong Park, Gonier Park, and Stetzler Lane are listed. What is annual DEP?
So this is these are park projects that had contamination of some sort, and so there's, AULs on them that need monitoring. And so they're monitored, it's actually Tom Devine that does that monitoring, goes out a couple times a year and looks at them, and the state comes out and looks as well at times. And so there's this fee that they charge. So they used to charge us, and then they stopped charging, but then they said the sort of direction it's as clear as mud. So they said, we're not charging you, but we may charge you. And so we carry this money in case they charge us the fee. Because what happened a number of years ago is they started charging the fee and it hadn't been budgeted, and so now we carry it in case they require us to pay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions on this area for Tom? And if we don't, then Councilor Dominguez.
Ready to make a motion?
Sure. I'll also note, just for everybody else, that in the payroll area here, we do also have a number of positions that are split between direct funding, grant funding, or other departments or other areas. So that's just something to be aware of within planning. So anyhow, that all said, Councilor Dominguez, if you want to make your motion.
I make a motion to accept the personnel on planning department of $500,026, 438.84 cents.
So Councilor Dominguez moves to accept the planning personnel budget of $526,438.84, seconded by Councilor Hapworth. Being no further discussion on that, I will call the roll. Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes. Councilor
Hapworth?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the question of planning personnel of 526,438.84, 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Planning expenses of $82,505. Do I have a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Flynn, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Call the roll on that. Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Myself, on the matter of planning expenses budget of $82,505, we have 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. We also have a departmental total of $608,943.84. Do I have a motion on that? Moved by Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Flynn. I will call the roll. Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Myself, yes. On the general department total of $608,943.84, 5 councilors voting in the affirmative. The matter carries. We now will go to Planning Conservation Commission. It covers general expenses and personnel expenses directly related to the Concom. Tom, if you want to hit this quickly.
It's part salary for staff Brittany Dolan, who's the conservation agent and planner, and then just some supplies, expenses associated with it.
Yeah, and then this also covers the recording clerk and all the like. Any questions on this? Do people know what the Conservation Commission does? Okay, well, since we're all filled with questions, if anybody wants to go from there, they're welcome to. Councilor Dominguez.
Motion to approve the personnel and conservation expense, the total of $27,935.44.
Councilor Dominguez moves to approve the planning conservation personnel budget, $27,935.44, seconded by Councilor Flynn. So call the roll on that. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Self, yes. On the planning conservation personnel budget of $27,935.44, 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. So a motion on the conservation expenses of $800. Moved for approval by Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Flynn. Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the matter of the planning conservation expenses budget of $800, 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. On the planning conservation departmental total of $28,735.44. Do I have a motion for approval from Councilor Dominguez, seconded by Councilor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So on the conservation expense, departmental total of $28,735.44, we have 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative. The matter carries. We now go to planning board, which is 8 to 21. And again, that covers departmental personnel and expenses that are associated directly with that body and all their supplies and advertising. Any questions regarding this one? If there are no questions, then if a member wants to make a motion, that's fine. Councilor Dominguez.
Motion to accept the personnel on planning board of $32,215 with 11 cents.
Councilor Dominguez moves to approve the planning board personnel department budget of $32,215.11, seconded by Councilor Hapworth. Seeing no further discussion, let me just write this down. Sorry. All right, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 5 members voting on the planning board personnel department budget of $32,215.11. 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. On planning board expenses of $3,730. Do I have a motion there? Moved by Councilor Flynn, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. Seeing no further discussion, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. On the planning board expenses of $3,730, 5 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. To then on the departmental total of $35,945.11. Motion to approve by Councilor Hapworth, seconded by Councilor Dominguez. And seeing no further discussion on that, Councilor Dominguez.
Yes.
Councilor Flynn.
Yes.
Councilor Hapworth.
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi.
Yes.
Myself, yes. On the matter of the departmental total for planning board of $35,945.11, we have 5 members voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. We have 2 more of these to cover. We have market and tourism, and we have the historical commission. Hang on 1 second. I just have to get my door. Sorry, I'm back. Tom, if you want to just let people know a little bit on this one, because this is also where some of our subsidies go.
Yeah, so this one, there's actually not city payroll in here. This is funding to support Artist Row and then also Destination Salem. So utilities, the stalls we rent out, those are now leased on an annual basis. The electricity line here is actually for the restrooms at Artist Row. Mm-hmm. And then under promotion and marketing, you see the funding for Destination Salem. That's coming from the Hotel Motel Local Options Task. The free shuttle or trolley rides in the summer. The public art programming that the Public Art Commission, manages with their annual public art plan. And then the last item are kind of a maintenance repair line for the stalls at Artist Row. Happy to take any questions that you have.
Yeah, I know the big accomplishment of Artist Row because I helped out with it was getting Comcast in there finally after all these years. So we now have.
Thank you for your help with that because that was a huge effort to get that to happen. So thank you.
Oh my goodness, it was. And easements and all kinds of fun. Councilor Dominguez, you have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just quick question to Tom on regard to, have you seen any other cities and towns similar to Salem that do the same thing on accepting visitors? What are they doing at this moment? I mean, what they're planning to, to make sure that they reopen back again and bring people back to their town? Have you done that or no?
Yeah, so it's been very interesting throughout all of this because we obviously Massachusetts got hit a few weeks later than some places on the West Coast, and I'm trying to look at examples out there to see what we might learn from Washington State, for example, and then looking at some national best practices just in terms of disaster recovery because communities have been responding to disasters with their hurricanes or tornadoes or the like. And then looking within Massachusetts, because although we were looking for these other models, there are unique circumstances here in Massachusetts. And, Salem in the region has kind of been a leader. I think Boston, Cambridge, Somerville have been out there in front of us or with us. And so on the one hand, that's been, and we've participated in lots of discussions and at sort of the regional level or state level, and have learned that others are trying to do what we've been doing. I think on the marketing side, Salem is really fortunate that we have such a strong destination marketing organization through Destination Salem. I mean, they do tremendous work, and their ability to sort of pivot and shift this year to support really communicating about Salem being a safe place to come and a vibrant place to come, and to focus on people who can drive here, the locals. It's really been tremendous what they've been able to do. And as I mentioned earlier, just Kate's leadership and participation on the task force with the weekly communications that we have coming out. I know I've heard just on Friday, I heard another example of a business person with a Salem connection who is in a different community and is sharing our information with, elected officials in that community saying, how come we don't have this? I've heard that many times. So I'm again, just very grateful for the partners that we have to be able to do all this work. I think that, because of these partners, we're able to sort of set a tone, a positive tone for making people feel comfortable to come back and shop and dine, and also communicating with the businesses about what they need to do. And so the Salem Together pledge is really sort of encapsulates that it's a social contract that businesses are going to do their thing to make sure the customers are safe, and customers are going to do their thing to make sure that employees in the business are safe. So it's I'm very excited about it. It's I think it's very positive, and will serve us well both in the short term and over the long term, because we are going to be, as I said earlier, it's going to look different over time, but we're going to need to be doing, and because it's going to look different over time, we're going to need to be able to do things a little differently. And having someone like Destination Salem to help us is a huge benefit.
We're learning new things about how to market the city now, basically.
Yeah.
Any other questions from about this? Councillor Flynn?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Sorry, if
sorry.
Yep, no problem. If any of you have further questions, ask them. Otherwise, if not, we can have a motion made. Any of you? Councillor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I ask a last minute question on regard to marketing? I see the line item on that to be 263. But ask Tom, you think that's enough for you to create a campaign that will compete with other cities and towns with similar situation that we have right now? Do you think that you got going to be enough with that amount of money?
So thank you for the question. I think that it's a reduction of about $14,000 over the current year, and I think that Kate Fox would say, well, we can always use more, and yet I think that through this it will be we've talked about the budget for Destination Salem, what their campaign is going to be, and they still have private funding that supports them as well. So I think we're good with that. We are looking, as I mentioned earlier, this Economic Development Administration grant application to the federal government is a source that could provide some additional resources to support this work as well.
I'm actually, based on the fact that things change. Right now, every city and town who depend on visitors going to be out there and trying to bring people to their town. So whoever got more creative ideas and more money, more funds, might be more effective. And that's what I mean, because I know you projected that before the pandemic. I mean, the 282, and you got approved 263. Instead of go up, you go down. You're going to have a lot more competition, and you have a bigger challenge, because in the normal time, those numbers was okay. Now after the pandemic, the competition is going to be more aggressive, and the challenge is going to be bigger, and the cost might be bigger because everybody on everything. And I know marketing and promotion is not a cheap item. Everywhere you go, you're going to see a lot of competition, and you're going to see a lot of high price. So, preventing that, I don't know if you are aware that you need maybe to have a very big item in that area to do a more effective job to incentivize that area, due to the fact that this is one of the biggest income revenue that we have in the city, bringing the visitors here. Many of the businesses right here depending on that, the hotel industry, the restaurant, and such and such and such and such. So if we don't have a big impact on that area, the other area on the economic might be a little bit short. So I don't know if you have.
Well, I'll chime in with one thing on this, is that we're not going to be entirely out of this situation come this fall, which is the season that this particular marketing budget is hitting. And this fall, I think we probably want fewer visitors, and we want them all to be healthy this fall, as we slowly recover. I think that assuming that conditions continue to improve, and I saw some data today that right now Massachusetts has the lowest positive rate and the lowest rate of spread in the country, which is very optimistic, I guess just ahead of Connecticut. So, you know, we're in the process of coming back, but there's still a lot of the country that isn't even in control yet. So that's going to really put a monkey wrench into tourism and where people are coming from for the rest of the year. So in a sense, we don't want to push too hard this year. Get a lot of day trippers from here in Massachusetts that are healthy and stuff, and rebuild.
Yeah, and I thank you, Councilor Turiel. I think, you know, the Destination Salem is very well poised to be able to build from sort of the relationships and the branding. It's, you know, it's different what they're promoting and how they're promoting, but I think we've got a strong organization to do it. It's also, you know, the funding that's available is tied to, you know, the revenues that are received through the hotel motel tax. That's a part of it. So while we feel good about this number, the reason that we're including marketing as part of this Economic Development Administration grant application is to, you know, think about maybe some enhancements that could happen later. It's not going to be this fall. It's going to be, you know, winter time leading into next year to support that further.
Any other questions for Tom on this? If there aren't any, if there's no questions for Tom, somebody wants to make a motion on this departmental budget. Councilor Dominguez?
I do. I wanted to make a motion on planning and marketing and tourism expenses of $278,208.
So Councilor Dominguez moves to approve the planning, market, and tourism departmental total of $278,208, seconded by Councilor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion, call the roll. Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Hepworth?
Yes.
Councilor Riccardi?
Yes.
Myself, yes. On the planning, market, and tourism expenses budget, $278,208, 5 councilors voting, all the affirmative, none the negative. The matter carries. We now go to the last line item, which is Historical Commission. I will note that there's a little bit of a transposition error. The payroll detail on Historical Commission is actually on 8235, the page after this market and tourism, rather than where it's supposed to be, but it's correct. The actual budget info is on 8240. We're on their agenda next week for our pay job. Sure. Tom, if you want to touch on this a little bit? I know it.
Sure. So it's very similar to the Conservation Historical Commission, where there's personnel associated with Historical Commission and the clerk, and then just some expenses associated with the Historical Commission for office supplies and the like.
Okay. Any questions for Tom on Historical Commission? Seeing none, if anybody wants to move to make a motion from there. Oh, we do have a question. Councilor Marcello.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a question about the website hosting for this. Can you explain that?
Sure. So the part of the preservation plan called for a website that was more than just the Salem.com Historical Commission. And so it's a website called Preserving Salem, sort of a corollary to Building Salem.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows for information to be posted and to be a place where people can go to learn more about historic preservation and historic preservation projects in the city. And so it's outside Salem.com. It's through Squarespace, so there is a fee associated with hosting it. And so that's why we had it in there. And we zeroed that out, so we'll figure out how to pay it. Otherwise.
Any other questions on that? Counselor? What's that? Okay, if there's no other questions, if a member wants to make a motion at this point. Counselor Flynn?
Yeah, make a motion to accept the Planning Historical Commission personnel expense of $31,561.23.
Counselor Flynn moves to approve the Historical Commission personnel budget of $31,561.23, seconded by Counselor Dominguez. Let me just write this down. All right, no further discussion. Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Hepworth?
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi?
Yes.
Self, yes. On the Planning Historical Commission personnel budget of $31,561.23, 5 counselors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. And if there's a motion to approve on the Historical Commission expenses of $1,020, so moved by Counselor Dominguez, seconded by Counselor Flynn. Seeing no further discussion, Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Hepworth?
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So with 5 counselors voting on the Historical Commission expenses of $1,020, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative, the matter carries. And a motion on the department total of $32,581.23 from Counselor Flynn, seconded by Counselor Dominguez. Let's see, no further discussion on that. Counselor Dominguez?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Hepworth?
Yes.
Counselor Riccardi?
Yes.
Myself, yes. On the Planning Historical Commission departmental total of $32,581.23. 5 counselors voting, 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. All right, that's all our material for today. We will be back tomorrow.
Thank you.
Public safety and a bunch of other stuff. Thank you, Tom. And we'll see a whole bunch of you again tomorrow. If somebody would like to make a motion to Counselor Dominguez.
Motion to adjourn.
Counselor Dominguez moves to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you. See you all tomorrow.
See you guys.
Or most many of you tomorrow. Bye.